Hey Grand Adventurers, welcome back. I'm your host, Mark Guido, and we're spending this week in Waterton Lakes National Park in Alberta, Canada. Come along. This episode of Grand Adventure is sponsored by etrailer.com, where you'll find thousands of products for RVing, towing, camping, outdoor recreation, vehicles, boating, and more. Click the link in the video description or scan the code on your screen to shop etrailer.com with Grand Adventure. Waterton Lakes National Park, in the southwestern corner of Alberta, became Canada's fourth national park in 1895. Covering 195 square miles of rugged Rocky Mountain wilderness, where it borders the Great Plains. The park and its three namesake lakes are named for the Victorian naturalist and conservationist Charles Waterton. Waterton Lakes is open all year, and we're visiting ahead of the main tourist season in July and August. It's nevertheless been somewhat busy here, especially on the weekends, as we're only a 3-hour drive from Calgary. Located at an elevation of 4,232 feet on the shores of Middle and Upper Waterton Lakes, the Waterton Lakes townsite seems unique to those of us used to U.S. national parks and their permitted park concessionaires. This is literally a town entirely within the national park, filled with independent hotels, restaurants, shops, cafes, retail stores, and even a movie theater. RV travelers won't be doing their weekly grocery shopping here, but there's a small general store with assorted essentials. The nearest supermarket is in Pincher Creek, 45 minutes away. Overlooking both the townsite and the lakes, the Prince of Wales Hotel, one of Canada's grand railway hotels, was constructed between 1926 and 1927 by the Great Northern Railway in an attempt to lure American tourists during Prohibition. It's the only grand railway hotel in Canada to be constructed by an American railway company and is now listed on Canada's Register of National Historic Places. All of this is located within a short walk from the park's Townsite Campground. Open from early April until mid-October, reservations are available from mid-May to mid-September, and sites are first come, first served outside of those dates. While there are a total of 246 sites among 7 campground loops, Loops A and B offer full hookups, and those loops fill up almost instantly when reservations open for the season. All 3 of us traveling together this season have full hookup sites in A Loop, which cost us just over $44 Canadian per night, or just over $32 US per night. This is a first-rate national park campground with ample spacing, mixed tree cover, and concrete patios and picnic tables at each site. Wood fires are not permitted. We've seen deer in the campground most evenings, and they're clearly very accustomed to humans. During this first week of June, our weather has remained quite variable, with everything from sunshine in the 70s to a mix of rain and wet snow in the campground, with overnight lows in the 30s and 40s. Start branching out to explore far more of this sprawling national park, right after we take a brief moment for an important message from our valued video sponsor, eTrailer. Whether you need products for your RV, boat, trailer, vehicle, hunting and fishing, off-roading, and more, our video sponsor eTrailer has you covered. Best of all, you'll find over 100 US-based enthusiast customer service reps ready to help via phone, chat, or email, both before and after the sale. These folks have used themselves the products that you're shopping for, and you won't find a more knowledgeable team anywhere to help you with your outdoor project. Click the link in the video description or scan the code on your screen to shop etrailer.com with Grand Adventure. Today's exploration up the park's Cameron Creek drainage begins with Cameron Falls, just a short walk from our campsite. The Akamina Parkway follows Cameron Creek upstream for 10 miles to its headwaters at the U.S. border, and it's all been burned. In fact, most of Waterton Lakes National Park has been scorched by recent wildfires. Wildfires also occurred in 1998 and 2018. The biggest wildfire in Waterton Lakes was 2017's Kenau Fire, which began from a lightning strike on Kenau Mountain, over 18 miles west of here. The fire burned approximately 86,000 acres, over 55% of which was within Waterton Lakes National Park. Over 80% of the hiking trail network was affected, and the visitor center, numerous other buildings, and the park's Crandall Mountain Campground were all destroyed. It left behind some stark scenery, but there's already ample evidence of the forest regenerating itself with new life. In 1902, John Lynam's Rocky Mountain Drilling Company drilled the first exploration well to produce saleable amounts of oil in Alberta here, on the site of oil seeps alongside Cameron Creek. The boom was short-lived, however, as the roads to get here were rugged, and the oil had to be transported out of the mountains on the backs of mules. Nevertheless, Alberta's oil boom began right here. Cameron Lake sits at the end of the Akamina Parkway beneath 8,881-foot Mount Custer, which rises above the American shoreline at the southern end of the lake. The Continental Divide runs along the top of that ridgeline, where three borders meet: Alberta, British Columbia, and Montana. Cameron Lake is the wettest spot in all of Alberta, for Cameron Lakes receives more precipitation on average annually than any other place in the province. Visitors can rent canoes, rowboats, or paddle boats to get out on the water, and that's something that sticks in my craw. In their effort to prevent the spread of aquatic invasive species, rather than conduct pre-launch inspections to ensure boat cleanliness as many other locations do, including an inspection we received when we crossed into Alberta, park officials here have decided to instead issue a flat ban on all non-motorized watercraft from outside the park from being launched in any body of water within the park. This seems to me to be more of an effort to promote concessionaire rentals than it does to prevent quagga mussel infestation, and I'm reluctant to spend money to rent an inferior boat to my own just to paddle within Waterton Lakes. So I'm instead spending my recreation time this week hiking instead of kayaking. And we're starting with one of the most popular hikes at Waterton Lakes, Bear's Hump. This is a short hike, just under 2 miles round trip, but it gains nearly 800 feet of elevation in less than a mile. So it's an unrelenting climb. It should be worth it though, for it leads to what's perhaps the most photographed view in the entire park. We've met a couple of locals on this hike, 2 Rocky Mountain Bighorn sheep ewes. And like everyone we've encountered thus far in our swing through Western Canada, these 2 locals are very friendly. Sure enough, this spot delivers the money shot. We've got even more of Waterton Lakes National Park to share with you, including Red Canyon, Blakiston Falls, Bertha Falls, and Bertha Lake, right after we take a quick ad break to pay the bills. So stay tuned. Waterton Lakes National Park has maintained a herd of plains bison in its Bison Paddock since 1952. The park's Bison Paddock Loop Road passes through fescue grasslands inside the paddock, providing an opportunity to see plains bison in their natural grassland habitat, in what's akin to one of those drive-through safari parks. Red Rock Canyon Parkway winds its way up the park's Blakiston Valley for nearly 9 miles, through a diverse rolling grassland prairie, and is the way to access many of Waterton's favorite day hikes. During the winter months, this road remains unplowed, to the enjoyment of cross-country skiers. The road gets its name from this shallow gulch at road's end, where argillite, an iron-rich bright red rock, runs through the layers of surrounding mountains. Snowmelt runs through this beautiful gorge and rests in brightly colored pools carved into the vibrant red rock. A short, easy half-mile stroll around the canyon is paved, making it accessible for the disabled. Also leaving from the same parking lot, another easy, flat hiking route leads for a little over a half mile each way to Blakiston Falls, named for the tallest mountain in the park, Mount Blakiston, which rises above the trail to 9,547 feet. Upon arrival at Blakiston Falls, you're greeted by an elaborate system of observation platforms installed by Parks Canada following the Keno fire. This trail and the Red Rock Canyon Path are both perfectly short, easy hikes for those with small children, who are sure to be fascinated by both the bright red rock in Red Rock Canyon and raging Blakiston Falls visible from the two distinct viewing platforms. It's Saturday morning, so following a full work week, I finally have time to devote to a full day hike to Bertha Point, Bertha Falls, and Bertha Lake, departing right from our campsite. For the first 0.8 of a mile, I'll follow a moderate climb on the Great Divide Trail above the western shoreline of Upper Waterton Lake. There's been an aggressive mountain lion active in the area this week, prompting park officials to close backcountry campsites at Bertha Bay and Bertha Lake and warn hikers traveling through the area. Bertha Point affords some beautiful, unobstructed views of the Waterton Valley and Upper Waterton Lake, stretching to the U.S. border and beyond, making Bertha Point a worthy hiking destination in its own right. Sticking with the Great Divide Trail would lead me to the international border between Waterton Lakes National Park in Alberta and Glacier National Park in Montana. Instead, I'm branching off in this direction to begin my climb to meet Bertha Creek, gaining over 400 vertical feet over the next 0.8 of a mile to reach Lower Bertha Falls. About halfway to the falls, Bertha Creek's sound grows as its rushing water rises to meet the trail. Shortly before reaching Lower Bertha Falls, another unnamed series of small cascades makes for a picturesque spot to stop and rest for a moment. But this isn't the main event, which is just another 100 yards or so up the trail. From the falls, I could now double back the way I came, as many hikers do, dropping 800 feet of elevation back to our campground for a 3.2 mile round trip hike. Instead, I'll keep going to where it starts getting steep in an attempt to reach Bertha Lake. This will more than double the hike to around 7 miles round trip. Or in reality for me, with starting from our campsite and doodling around here and there, more like 8.5 miles. From here, the trail gains another 1,275 feet of elevation through 21 steep switchbacks over the next mile and a half. Views of the Waterton Valley from each east-facing switchback prompts me to stop occasionally to catch my breath and admire the view. The damage from the Kino fire exposed these views, but also left this trail with very little shade. There are now sections of trail that pass through forests that somehow escaped the fire damage. These intact fir trees partially obstruct the view of massive Upper Bertha Falls, and there's no obvious way across this steep slope to get any closer. The scenic views of Bertha Lake, nestled between Bertha Peak, Mount Alderson, and Mount Richards, have made all of the effort worthwhile. There's a trail around the lake for those who wish to explore further, at least when it's not blocked by snow. And tent campers may stay overnight here at an established backcountry campsite with a permit that may be purchased at the Parks Canada Visitor Center. Now, it's time to begin the long trek back to camp. At least it's downhill nearly the entire way, and I'm beyond satisfied with this fitting end to our visit to Waterton Lakes. We hope that you've enjoyed visiting Waterton Lakes National Park with us. Now, coming up next week, we're going to be visiting the second of 4 consecutive Canadian national parks, the most popular destination in all of Canada, and that's Banff. So if you're not yet a grand adventurer, there is no better time than right now for you to go smash that little subscribe button right down there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen and ring that notification bell to be sure that you never miss a grand adventure, which we premiere right here every Wednesday evening. We'd be honored if you shared the channel with your friends, family, and on social media. Understand though, it is extremely important to us that if you liked this episode from Waterton Lakes, please be sure to give us a big thumbs up down below. And while you're down below, that's where you'll find the comment section where we love to hear from you each and every week. So until next week from Banff, please remember, life is nothing but a grand adventure. We'll see you then.